Today we're talking about the 5 controversial lessons INFJs learn through bullies and narcissists. We all know that INFJs sort of attract narcissists and we attract bullies. And very often we don't know why this is happening, or it feels like, okay, it's just, who I am and I can't really help it. But the point is that we have attracted those people. It's not something that necessarily has to happen in the future, but so far, every single one of us has had narcissists in their life and bullies. And it's more than most people have to deal with. But the point is this, that through those encounters, we can pick up such lessons. And if we're really being honest with ourselves, we have to be thankful that those situations happen in our life, because there are some controversial lessons that others might not want to look at, but that definitely will bring you to the next level. I definitely know for myself, if I didn't experience those things, I wouldn't have gotten so far in life. And I know that applies to you as well. So today we're going to look into those 5 controversial lessons that INFJs learn through bullies and narcissists, and how we can use all of that knowledge to create that INFJ epic life on your terms. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you say, I want to take it to the next level, I want to start creating step by step my life the way I see fit, and I'm ready to make those drastic changes in my life, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide today. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. Controversial lesson number 1. The INFJ learns that they can't put others first. So the INFJ loves to help other people, right? This is one of our biggest gifts and skills. So it's natural that we want to do that. We want to help others. We want to help them understand themselves. We want to, help them see life from a different perspective, because we see all the potential that others have to offer. But if INFJs never deal with narcissists or bullies, they will never get to the conclusion that, you can't put others first. It's just not possible, because at some point, no matter how much you try to give, you're not going to get the same thing back. And you're going to give and give and give, and in the end, you're completely depleted. Right? In those moments, you recognize how much you actually like to help others and how much you want to be there for others and guide them. And, that's just who you are. And I'm not telling you have to give that up, because guess what? This is one of my favorite things to do. But what I have learned is that no matter how much I want to help others, it has to start with me. I have to be okay with myself. I have to be appreciated. My help has to be appreciated. I really have to be at that place where I feel good while I'm helping others. If you as an INFJ are in a position where you help others and this actually makes you feel worse because they don't want your help, they fight back, whatever it may be, it's just not going to work. And INFJs definitely learn that lesson, because we're willing to help even if it means our own downfall. But, we have learned that once you're down there, once you have nothing left to give, there's no other way out. You have to choose yourself first. And it's a hard lesson, but guess what? It's the best lesson ever. And it will help us to feel great about ourselves and do everything we want at the same time. It's just about understanding that we have to set those boundaries, and that our strength to take on negative energy is just limited. We have to face that, because that in itself will help us to level up. Controversial lesson number 2. The INFJ has to fight back. The INFJ is the typical martyr, right? We have read this in all of the descriptions, that the INFJ is the typical person who says, oh, I understand why you're hurting me. You just have so much going on and things are not working out for you. And I know why this is so hard for you. And so they sort of see it from the other person's perspective and forget how they feel in that moment. At some point when you deal with a narcissist or bully, you're going to change that perspective, because you understand that no matter how much you give, at some point, you have to fight back. Because there's no way for the other person to stop bullying you, for the narcissist to stop using you, until you say that's enough. That's a typical saying of, a giver has to stop giving, because a taker will not stop taking. And no matter how much you want it to be different, that's just how it is. And if an INFJ doesn't deal with a bully or a narcissist, which never happens, they will never get to that place, because our natural tendency is to give. And we have to learn that sometimes we have to fight back. We not only have to set boundaries, but we have to make that person feel that they inflicted some kind of pain to us, right? We have to be our mirror and we have to fight back in order for people to respect us and to make sure that we protect ourselves from here on out. Controversial lesson number 3. You need to have your own identity. And you might say, wait a minute, why is that controversial? Doesn't everybody need to have their own identity? Isn't that like super important? Well, not for INFJs normally, right? We're totally fine with emerging ourselves and other people's interests in their lives. We're totally okay being one version of ourselves when we're with this one friend and another version of another friend when we're with them. But we get to a place where we understand if we don't have our own identity, so pretty much a space that is non-negotiable, a way of being that is always going to be constant, no matter who we have around us and what kind of circumstance we're put in. We're always going to be open to be taken advantage of because that narcissist that comes into our life pretty much pulls us into their life. That bully that comes along is going to be able to really hit us in a way that they won't be able to if we have our own identity that we hold on to. People like this are able to hurt the INFJ because we're looking at it from their perspective. We see where they're coming from. We actually understand why it's totally okay to be mean to us, right? Because it makes sense from their perspective. And that's the kind of lesson the INFJ learns while dealing with narcissists and bullies, that we just cannot keep doing this. We have to have a certain sense of self that is non-negotiable, that no matter who comes along, we're not going to give up. It's something that we hold on to, and we're going to make sure that we're protecting our own well-being because we know who we are, and that mental space cannot be entered or altered by whoever comes into your life. Trust me, once you have that intact, bullies and narcissists won't really get close to you because they know, you're not the perfect target for them anymore. It's exactly those qualities of being open to people that way that makes us such easy targets for bullies and narcissists. And let me tell you one thing. Just because you say, I have my own identity, that does not mean that you're not giving other people a chance or that you're not allowing others to be themselves or that you're not going to have deep connections. But you're saying, I'm going to make a trade-off. I may be allowing too much of a connection because the price for this deep connection might be not only that others are able to tell you positive things and negative things about yourself, but also that, you don't have a sense of self. Imagine you being like this hollow space that you allow other people to come in and out of. You need to fill that space up. And when you do that, you might not have that deep connections like you used to, but you don't need that much because you're having such a deep connection with yourself. And that feels better than any other connection you might have. Lesson number 4, there is no sense in playing a role because at some point you wanna really be yourself. No matter who you meet in life, you might be able to play a role for a while. The moment you wanna get closer to that person in any kind of way, you want to shed that role. You want to be yourself. And that's the moment where all of those bullies and those narcissists really come out of their shell. Because first off, they get upset that, they thought that you were playing by their rules. And then they see that, you're able to look behind the facade, that you know who they're all about. They get upset with you. And that's when they start bullying you. That's when they start gaslighting you. And when you know that when you play a role, it will always lead to this kind of scenario, you will also know that the only way to get out of that is to say, I'm just not going to play a role anymore. It's okay to adapt yourself a little bit and not be too controversial when you're in certain situations. That's totally fine. But it's all about understanding that, if the end goal is for me to be authentic, then why not be authentic from the get-go? Because the more you choose yourself, the more you say, this is who I am, I'm going to stop playing roles, the less people will have a false image of you. The less you're going to attract bullies and narcissists because you don't really engage in that process. All of this connection, narcissist and empath or, bully and victim, this always happens because we sort of try to solve a problem through another person. It's please accept me the way I am. And it always stems from the core of, I'm not accepting myself yet. And that's why we're playing roles. And if you have encountered enough bullies and enough narcissists in your life, you know that, the best way to never have to deal with this again is if you stop playing roles. You're just being yourself from the get-go. You're not trying to pretend to be somebody else. You're not trying to, make others believe anything about you. Because you know who you are and you're going that direction in life and you're being your authentic self over and over again. And whoever doesn't like it, let them not like you. But you're not going to even get in any kind of situations where you're trying to make them understand you or you're trying to convince them of something. And, being such a person is very unattractive for narcissists and bullies. They pretty much don't see any sense in hanging out with you because you're never going to be their victim again. And this is actually already lesson number 5. The more you like yourself, the less bullies and narcissists actually come into your life. Believe it or not. We as INFJs think, I like myself and I also like you, your authentic self. Why are you trying to bully me? But what we don't understand in that moment is that if we really liked ourselves, we wouldn't allow anybody to treat us this way. We think we like ourselves and we have just enough love and appreciation to give to others because they're hurting, that's why they're bullying us, and so on. But if you really get to a place where you learn, okay, no matter what I do, I'm never going to get what I'm looking for in those connections, right? I'm never going to feel good about myself because of what others are going to think about me. I cannot rely on that. So you actually start really liking yourself. You say, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to be the parent to my inner child that I always wanted to have. And I'm going to make sure that no matter who comes into my life, no matter how nice they might seem, how lovely they might seem at first, the moment they start treating you badly, you're putting up those walls. You're making sure that you're protecting yourself because now you're really liking yourself. You're being that parent to your inner child and you're not going to let anybody hurt your inner child ever again, right? And when you do that, you'll see bullies and narcissists will just vanish. I can tell you this from personal experience. I can tell you this from talking to so many INFJs throughout the years that I've helped. This is something that I can guarantee you. And those are those controversial lessons that INFJs learn through dealing with bullies and narcissists. So be thankful for all of those lessons learned and let's get to the next level. Remember, if you haven't done this so far, download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. It gives you some guidelines into creating that INFJ Epic Life on your terms. And if you want to take it to the next level, get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. That goes way, way deeper, of course. And it shows you step by step how to transform your life from a life that doesn't seem fulfilled to a life that is authentically and radically you, where you feel excited about every single day. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why a True INFJ is So Intimidating.